It's great to see so many people here tonight interested in what we're doing in the ICT space, and I can say that the great team from OFS are here and they're very excited to field all your technical questions, so make them as hard as possible, and they look forward to taking them on notice. Look, can I first acknowledge the members from ACS who are here this evening, and can I say that you're in great hands. I've met Richard a number of times now, and he is doing a great job in representing ACS and is constantly engaging with our office in finance and services. So we also have representatives tonight from the ICT Leadership Group, David Kennedy, Chris Robson, Malcolm Frame, and of course Aaron Liu, who recently announced a fantastic cloud initiative for the Justice Department, I think a couple of weeks ago. So well done to Aaron. And we also have members of the ICT advisory panel here tonight, experts like John Baird, who's doing a great job with the government on one of our more difficult projects at the moment, and Marie Johnson, who has provided us with valuable input on our strategic direction. And of course, many members of different government departments like OFS, Transport New South Wales, and Police. By far the biggest group of you here tonight, I understand, are from industry. And I'm glad that so many of you have chosen to give up a Wednesday night and take the time to join us because it shows that we in government are important to you. But what I want to talk about this evening is why you are important to us, and tell you about some of the things that we're doing in government in New South Wales to make things easier for you. Firstly, though, I want to talk to you about two companies who recently have contacted my office. Last week, these two gentlemen here, John Cozzi and Peter Muldoon, who I met this evening, briefed one of my advisors about a business idea that they have just recently launched. It's called Funding for Business, and as the name suggests, the business does exactly that. It basically connects investors, like super investors, with small businesses who are looking for capital at a more competitive rate than offered by the banks. It relies on a concept called peer-to-peer lending, and I think we are going to see much more of this. The site has been launched just a couple of weeks ago, I understand, but there's a lot to like about this idea. It's making capital work harder. It's disrupting the banks, and importantly, it has no government intervention at all. I think the idea of marketplaces that connect people who have something with those who need something is one of the best winning models on the internet. And we are seeing this success through sites like Service Seeking or Design Crown. Of course, though, there are risks involved too, and whilst I don't think that they have successfully closed a deal yet, they are refining the site each day, and many people might prefer safety rather than high returns when it comes to dealing with their super. The second company that contacted us was one called Token One. They say that people have too many passwords, and I'm sure we can all agree with that. And they promise that their technology, quote, logs you into all of your linked secure sites with just one PIN. It almost sounds too good to be true, but once again, another great idea. We haven't met them yet, so I don't exactly know how their technology works, but they've contacted us because they understand and recognise correctly that as the government becomes more digital, it will need to interact with its citizens in a secure way. But what really struck me about hearing about these companies is the changing notion of what defines a small and medium enterprise. Traditionally, when we've thought of SMEs, we've thought of the corner store, the newsagent, an accounting firm, or the bakery up the road. But now we have a new generation of technology-enabled SMEs popping up across the state. They are software and application programmers, enterprise architects, project managers, data modelers, system and network analysts, e-commerce platform developers. They are technical experts and ICT innovators. They are homegrown companies like GoCatch, BigCommerce, Pocketbook, OneFlare and Tapestry, just to name a few. Now, I have no idea if these companies will actually succeed in the end. But running a small tech business, as many of you will know, is very challenging, even at the best of times. But the point is that many of you here in this room tonight are out there every single day taking a chance to make these ideas become a reality. You're taking risks, you're pursuing your passion, you're investing your time and very often your money as well. I think it takes real courage to strike out and to do something on your own. The rewards can be great, not only in creating wealth, but also in creating jobs and binding communities together. But as you know, the risks can be great too. That's why we acknowledge that many times, despite its best effort, many governments only seem to make life more difficult for SMEs. In some senses, business and government will always have a definite tension between them. Business is about innovation, risk-taking and pushing the boundaries. Government is about regulation, stability and avoiding mistakes. But there is one area where government can lead and make things easier for SMEs, and that is in the area of procurement. Specifically, I think there are two things that the government needs to do. The first is to change the mindset, and the second is to take action. In some ways, the slow and steady approach in government means that bigger and more reliable names in procurement will tend to get chosen. It's part of human nature. The phrase, many of you will know, that no one ever got fired from hiring IBM was so powerful because it reflected the very human desire to make the right decision and to minimise risk. But in order to boost small business, a change of mindset is needed. A shift from minimising risk to embracing innovation. A willingness to buy the right solution, not necessarily the right vendor. And an openness to try new things. I think, and I hope you'll agree, that we've recognised this some time ago here in New South Wales, and we've been very active trying to boost small business in this state. That's why we first released back in 2012 the Procurement Strategic Direction Statement, which has objectives around driving value for money, delivering quality services and aligning with business needs. But the second part is about taking action. So tonight I'm pleased to launch an update for 2014-15. The work plan now has 45 new actions that will make it easier for enterprises of all sizes to do business with the New South Wales Government. And I'd like to talk about a couple that might be of interest to you. First, we are making it easier for SMEs to demonstrate potential value for money on ideas in the proof of concept phase of development. The new approach applies to short-term, up to 75 days, high-risk contracts up to $250,000. We will still demand that the risks and the costs are robustly tested, but by changing the way we measure value for money, there is no doubt that we will transform innovation in New South Wales. This procurement work plan also recognises that it is often very difficult for small and medium business enterprises to get a foot in the door. Requiring New South Wales government agencies to seek at least one quote from a small or medium enterprise is one way to give small and medium enterprises that first break. This approach is not only quite innovative for government, but it allows SMEs to make a name and earn themselves a reputation. And it discourages our agencies and our departments in government from relying on incumbent businesses. There are hard copies of the work plan on your seat that have been handed out this evening, and I encourage you to read through it, take it on board and provide your feedback to us. Ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude tonight by saying that we are certainly on a journey here in New South Wales, a journey to transform our ICT landscape, and a big part of that is changing what we buy, when we buy it, and who we buy it from. As the business builders, job creators and risk takers of this state, your efforts are a key part in making this a reality. I encourage you to continue to work with us as we transform procurement in New South Wales. Thank you very much.